that we are conducting. So this is 7th and 8th is going on. Here we have three themes, as I said. One is water quality, which is very, very important when it comes to uh, talking about water, not only for drinking water. I mean, that is also one important thing that we need to realize and underscore. When it comes to water quality, it is important for various things of the ecosystem, including drinking water. So at times there is an understanding that it is only drinking water which is having quality concerns. The second important area that we are going to discuss here is role of communities in overall water governance. And finally, we will get into the issues of water governance. And how much detail we can go into is a question within the available time limit, but we will try, because the kind of people that we have, including Dr. KJ Joy online, I hope he would have joined. Grace, is he online? All right, thank you. Dr. Samarthan, Yogesh Kumar, the chief executive of Samarthan, was about to join, but there is some emergency that has come and he had to go somewhere. So he just informed me that he cannot join. That will be a loss for us, for the reason that in hilly terrains he has worked into scheduled areas and lot of important community initiatives. So I'll try to, in his absence, cover up some of the things that I know, although not as a primary experience, from what I know from those works. Uh, so let me introduce the speakers that we have here. Discussants, I would rather call, unless they have a presentation, that is fine. So we have Dr. R. Nainamalai. I hope Dr. Nainamalai is here. Okay, yeah. And Srimati Jennifer Savan. Yeah. They are both from the Meghalaya State Pollution Control Board and have a lot of important initiatives undertaken for ensuring no quality kind of erosion in various water systems, groundwater, river water, the other surface water sources, all. So I think they will have a lot of important insights to share with us. So I welcome Srimati Jennifer Savian, and you are not coming. Okay, so Srimati Jennifer Savian, please come on to the dais. And let me now, I don't need to introduce because he was introduced in greater detail yesterday, but I'll add one qualification to that. He was moderating the session on best practices, Mr. Dr. Eklavya Prasad. Eklavya is, having experience of linking water quality and disasters, drinking sanitation and linking sanitation and water quality, and has enormous experience of bringing in communities and setting up localized governance systems for water quality in various states of India. That covers West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, and so on. And I'm seeing Eklavya in this group as the person who is going to link all the three subjects. Eklavya, welcome to the dais, please. Now I'll introduce KJ Joy. Yeah, KJ is sitting. You can see him there. One of the persons who has worked on various aspects of water resource management and has in-depth understanding and in-depth experience of how communities can look at various issues around water. And that is something, when we are talking about northeastern states, particularly Meghalaya, it is having, the border and boundary areas with other countries. So conflicts related to water. Yesterday, Cambodia, when they were presenting, how they were talking about some rivers are going into other countries. So similarly, we have this issue of water conflicts, how communities can manage it, and how water governance can be set up. So all this area, the organization that Joy is leading, Sopecom in Pune, they have worked nationally and internationally, and Joy is a collection of what you call institutionalized memory of various initiatives and experience. Welcome to you, Joy. And we have Srimati Badrisha Lindem. She is the chief engineer of the PhD Meghalaya. And as a PhD chief, she has initiated a lot of works on ensuring water quality, including the institutionalization of various processes. And they have the community processes in those initiatives, particularly from the hill region communities. And I welcome you to share your experiences. And finally, I am inviting two colleagues from the INRAM Foundation of Anand, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and they have extensive experience of the as the technical partner of the Jal Jeevan mission in ensuring water quality, and they have been interacting with various actors, water quality actors, right from the grassroots level people to the senior level officials of various departments related to water, and they conduct learning sessions. I've been fortunate to be part of resource persons for some of the sessions of them. So I welcome uh, Sumanjita Burman and sir, I had noted down the other name. Can you please? Sharmila, yeah. Sharmila and Sumanjita together will make the discussions around their experience of how the Jal Jeevan mission can ensure drinking water quality, with special reference to their work in Assam, wherein some of the hill region experiences are coming in. So this is the panel. Welcome to all my panelists. And uh, is there any present, any Joy? I know that because he's speaking online, he has a set of slides. Any other slides we have? All right, you have. All right. You have a presentation? Okay. So then we will go in that manner. So the important thing is that let us have more time for discussion. The presentation can capture the essence of what we want to say. We can avoid a lot of details so that many of them would be knowing it. So we can do the crux of what we want to talk about, whether water quality or community participation or governance. And then, we can save the time for discussion. So I would suggest 8 minutes kind of interventions from everyone. And I'll be timekeeping for that. Sorry if I will have to pick up the mic and tell you that time's up. I'm sorry for that. Uh, uh, then we will have discussion, as possible question answer discussion, suggestions and experiences, all that that can come from the dais as well, audience as well. So with that, let us start. So I'm structuring this in two. So Eclavia will be coming at the center of it. I'll start with water quality issues, and then we'll go to the middle issue of what community water quality, community participation and governance, where you will be coming in. And then I'll go to Joy, wherein he will be speaking about some of the core governance and institutional issues. And in between, I'll also try to bring in what Yogesh was supposed to bring in here. I had taken some notes from him. So that is how we are going to go now. So may I now request Srimati Jennifer Savian to come and make her remarks. Yeah.
Slide, please. MSPCB. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here from Pollution Control Board to, to present you on the water quality, the monitoring
Please share
and
this. One second, sorry. Please share this presentation for Joy to see as well, so that yeah, thank you.
water quality, communities,
I can
and
see it, Raman.
governance. Slide, please. Okay. The Meghalaya Pollution Control Board is functioning as per the Section 17 of the Water Prevention and Control Pollution Act 1974. And under this act, we are performing the monitoring of the water quality and the National Water Monitoring Program. This is a program sponsored by CPCB. And then we are also monitoring the effluent and wastewater from the industrial units. We are monitoring the springs leached in the municipal dumping ground. Then we are monitoring the water bodies on account of entities order, high court orders. Then we are also analyzing the water bodies, analysis of water samples received from government department, especially from PHE, then for drinking purposes, then also for the private agencies and public, and even for those who are doing the research work. And we are monitoring the water bodies during the Puja festival in those water bodies where there is immersions of these idols. As of now, we are doing the monitoring in Kanal Riba in Tura, Mintudu Riba in Joai, and Umkra River in Shillong, where there is immersions of idols. Then we are under this granting of consent and establishment operation of industries. We are analyzing the wastewater, the raw as well as the treated water from the effluent treatment plant. Next. I have told you that we have permanent stations which are we are doing under the grant sanctioned by CPCB. As of now, we are monitoring at 25 rivers located all over the states and at 64 locations. These are the surface water and 4 lakes and 13 groundwater. These the rivers are the Umkra, we have the 4 locations. Umshirpi, we have 3 locations. Umyam River, we have at 4 locations. Umtra, we have at 2. Umken, 3. Umngat, we have at Smith and Dauki. Umngat River, we have at Jakram and Umpung. Nanba, we have at Nongstein and Fort Sasat. Kenshi, Soyong, Nongknum and Ranikor. Wablay, Riangdo and Sdat Dakar. Next. Next slide, please. Then Mintudu River, we are doing at Sintuxiar, Leshka, and Mintudu. Mintang at 2 locations, Luka at 3, Kupli at 2, Kanal River at 2, Simsang River at 3 locations, Manda at 2, Buki at 2, Damring at 2 locations. Next. Then at Rilang, we have 1. Then at 1 river at Soaras, Dekaria, at Lairinga, 1 location. Then Klek Klek, this is also in Sharapondri, sites open. Wareu, 1 location. Kerhukla River at Kleriat, Kalipai, 1 each. Kalipai, Kmayum, War Kirwi, Kmay Umruem, these are in East Jaintia Hill districts. Next slide. Then at Tlumwi, Lamu, Linriang, 1 location each in East Jaintia and Nongkal in Karu Hills districts. Then apart from next slides, apart from the surface water, we are also monitoring the lakes. What's Lake, Umyam Lake, Thalasken and Tasek Lake. Next. Then we have the groundwater is Mau Padang Spring in Shillong, Dreamland, Then Nongmensong Forest last stop. These are all located in Shillong. Then we have one in Bernihat. Then we are also measuring the hot spring in Chakram. Next. Then we have a spring in Sora. Then Saheb spring in Shangpung. Borewell, two location in Clearyat. Then another one, Borewell at Lat Rambai. And that Mautat Rishan well. Then next slides. Whatever data we generated, we submitted to CPCB. And under this program, we are analyzing more than 30 parameters. For surface water, we are doing the analysis, the monitoring on monthly basis. And for groundwater, we are doing on half yearly basis. Like I said, the data generated, we are submitting to CPCB. And based on those data generated, the CPCB has identified these stretches as the polluted river stretches. And under those, we have different priority from 1 to 5. The most polluted, they are prioritized as 1. And in Shillong, we have 2 rivers, that is the Umkra and the Umshurpi River, which are prioritized as category 1. These are categorized based on the parameters known as biochemical oxygen demand. And the other rivers, that is Umtra River in Bernihat, Nanba River in Nongstoin, Kurukla and Rambai and Lukha, these are prioritized as polluted river stretch 5. And Mintru River is identified as priority 4. That for priority 5, the biochemical oxygen demand is about above 3 and below 6. And for 4, it is above 6, below 10. And for priority 1, it is above 30 mg per liter. Next.
Jennifer, we will have to reduce the timing.
Okay.
Rather than going into many details, if you can give the.
These are the data for I have shown only for Umkra and Umshirpi, which are the most polluted river. Next slide, please. And these are actually we have to plans the rejuvenation, the action plan should be planned in such a way that this river should fit for bathing. And these are the criteria for making the water fit for bathing purposes. Next. Then for those polluted river stretches, the state government has formed a river rejuvenation committee to address all these issues and to plan the action plan so as to bring the water fit for bathing. And we have different departments involved in the implementation of those action plans. Next. These are some of the sampling locations. Next, please. Next. These are some of the initiative taken by the Pollution Control Board to rejuvenate and to restore, especially the water in Shillong. We have the Pollution Control Board has conducted the inspection of household falling outside municipal board to detect the septic tank overflowing septic tanks. And a total number of 921 households were inspected by the officials of the MPCB along with the member of the Darbar. Around 72 households were detected to have no septic tanks, and subsequently directions were issued. Next. These are some of the locations in the Umkra Umshirpi River where we can see that there is the depositions of the solid waste. Next. Then also last year during the World Environment Day, the Pollution Control Board has conducted some of the programs with the theme Beat Plastic Pollution and Save Shillong Rivers. Next. We have there was an inter-school essay competition where students from 14 schools participated, and the topic was restoration and rejuvenation of river, role of the public. For 5 to 7 and for 8 to 10, the topic was behavioral change and environmentally friendly actions. Next, then these are the awareness program along with the school students, streets play. Next,
I think
next,
we have crossed the
next,
time now.
next. Then these are there was a cleaning drive along with the members of the Shillong. Next, next. These are the environment awareness program conducted by the board. Next, then we have also conducted the single-use plastic where some CCA was carried on. Next, then as a part of the program to save this river, the board has erect change link fencings at Urkliar Bridge Nong Minsong, Dem Senyong Bridge, Lumdingmet Umpling, Dong Surak Umpling, Dong Surak Bridge bordering Lumarba, RR Colony, Lapalang Market, Demtring Bridge, Thembasuks. These chains are erected to prevent the public from direct from throwing those solid waste direct into the water bodies. Next, next, next. The way forward, the pollution control boards aim to extend extensive awareness program to be carried on, more fencing, link change fencing to be erected in all vulnerable areas, issue direction to violators and penalizing under polluters principles, and then to continue inventarization of water polluting units. With this, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we are very glad to note that the State Pollution Control Board is having a very active, kind of framework of how to monitor the water and grading and prioritization process and quality criteria of water, all that. I mean, and then you are trying the rejuvenation through a planning process, and household vulnerabilities are identified and addressed. So these are something that, very important. Uh, with this note, let us see how in Meghalaya the drinking water part, the quality of drinking water in Meghalaya, what all are the key initiatives taken by the Public Health Engineering Department of Meghalaya. So may I request uh, Srimati Badrisha M. Lindem to speak about the initiatives of the PHED. Do we have may I request the sound system person, do we have the remotes for moving the slides so that people themselves can do it?
Can we have the presentation? Yeah.
Can we put the slides up, please? Any delays? You can start probably with, and they can put up the slides.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So thank you very much. I've been introduced as the Chief Engineer of the Public Health Engineering Department. So my presentation for this session today is about drinking water quality. So we all know that drinking water is very essential for human survival. And of course, safe drinking water So we are talking here about the quality of drinking water supply. So what is water quality exactly? Water quality, it refers to the physical, the chemical, and biological characteristics of the water. And as per the Bureau of Indian Standards, they have specified that safe drinking water should follow the standard of the IS 10500 2012. And these standards have two limits. One is the acceptable limits, and the other one is permissible limits in the absence of an alternate source. Now, the question here is yeah, so the question that we should be asking is why do we need to assess the quality of drinking water? Actually, there are two questions here. One is the why, and one is the how. So, let us talk about the why now. If you look at this slide, this is the Sustainable Development Goals that has been developed by the United Nations in 2015 by 193 member states. These goals, they are inherently linked to one another. And if you look at goal number 6, that is clean water and sanitation, primarily this goal is about promoting universal access to safe drinking water and sanitation. So when we talk about the water quality, we have to understand what is this safe drinking water that we are talking about. And if you look again at the goals, goal number 6 has strong links between people, economy, and nature, which ultimately defines what sustainable development is all about. So, primarily, goal number 6 is about promoting universal access to safe drinking water and sanitation. And secondarily, it's the linkage you can see, it's linked with goal number 3, which is reduction in waterborne diseases. And ultimately, safe water, improve sanitation, better hygiene, ultimately, better public health. Then it's also linked with goal number 5 and 8 because reduction in drudgery faced by women and children and empowerment of women. So the women have more time at the disposal to put in productive use. Then again, you see the link between goal number 6 and goal number 13, that is promoting action against climate change, and goal number 6 and goal number 15, improving management of terrestrial fresh water resources. In Meghalaya, PHED is the nodal department for providing safe drinking water and sanitation to the people in the state. So, the vision of the department is to provide every person with adequate, safe water for drinking, cooking, and other domestic basic needs on sustainable basis. It is to be always readily and conveniently accessible and in all situations. That is about water. And the second part is about sanitation to ensure that the open defecation free behaviors attained is sustained and aims at ensuring that no one is left behind from access to sanitation facilities. And also that there is efficient and sustainable management of solid and liquid waste across all villages in the state. So when we talk about safe water, first of all, we have to understand about providing the water supply. Water supply is actually a state subject, and the state government is responsible for providing water supply. But the government of India has been assisting the states in providing water supply. And as you can see, in 1972, we had the Accelerated Rural Water Supply Program, that is the ARWSP, 2009. It is renamed as the NRDWP. 2017, we had the restructuring of the NRDWP. And in 2019, the Jal Jeevan Mission was launched to provide functional household tap connections to every rural household in the country by the year 2024. This doesn't seem to be working. Can you go to the next slide? Oh, yeah. Okay. So what is the Jal Jeevan Mission? The vision of the Jal Jeevan Mission is to provide every rural household with drinking water in adequate quantity. That is a minimum of 55 liters per capita per day of prescribed quality as per the Bureau of Indian Standards 10,500 on regular and long-term basis at affordable service delivery charges, leading to improvement in the living standards of rural communities. So the objectives of Jal Jeevan Mission at the heart of the mission is to provide individual household tap connections at the rate of 55 liters per capita per day, and also water supply to institutions, schools, and Anganwadis. Then we have awareness on various aspects of safe water and involvement of the stakeholders to monitor the functionality of tap connections, to promote and ensure voluntary ownership among the local community, to assist in ensuring sustainability of water supply system, and also to empower and develop human resource in the sector. So this is the slide showing the overview of the Jal Jeevan Mission in the state of Meghalaya since its inception. As you can see, if you look at the map on the on the left-hand side, everything is orange. Why? Because at this point of time, when the Jal Jeevan Mission was launched, Meghalaya had provided only 4,550 household connections in the entire state, which is less than 1% of the households in the state. We have, by the way, we have 6,51,412 rural households in the state. And as of now, we have been able to provide more than 74%, that is 4,79,758 connections in the rural households in the state. So this is the progress. As you can see, 2019 and 20, it was almost negligible with just a small line at the bottom. And over the years, we have been able to progress, and we stand at 74% cumulative progress. So, Jal Jeevan Mission. We have almost reached the time, so please. Okay. So, the Jal Jeevan Mission is about not only providing water supply at that level of water supply, adequate water supply of 55 liters, but also to provide the water supply of prescribed quality. And water quality monitoring and surveillance under the Jal Jeevan Mission is a very, very important component. The vision, as you know, is to provide clean water, and that regular water quality surveillance by the community to have confidence in consuming water directly from the tap. I will not go into the detail of this. This you can also all get from the website of the Jal Jeevan Mission. Then this is the standard of the IS 10,500. We have 12 parameters under the chemical test and 2 parameters under the bacteriological test. Yeah. So these are the steps to ensure water safety. First of all, we have to identify the source. Then we check for we do a sample collection, and then we ensure that the water testing results are within the BIS limits. And based on the lab test, then we decide whether the source is treatable or untreatable. Then after that, we choose the appropriate treating process. And after that, after we have implemented the scheme, we take a sample of the treated water, and we compare between the raw water and the treated water to check the effectiveness of the treatment process. And then we verify it also at the consumer end through the lab and also through the FTK testing. This is surveillance. So in the water quality monitoring and surveillance, we have two components. One is the surveillance and one is monitoring. Surveillance is at the community level. So the community, what they have to do is we train the community. In fact, we train 5 women from each village in the rural areas. And in fact, uh, we have registered 10,937 numbers of women. They are the FTK users, and also 26,000 and 90 numbers of women have been trained using these field test kits all over the state. So what we're trying to do here is we are trying to empower women to undertake water quality testing and to upload the test report by these FTK users. So as you can see, this is a field test kit, and these are the 9 parameters that are available in the test kit. So you can understand, we are empowering the woman. Test the water, and if you find that the water is not at all suitable, and if not, they are not as per the permissible limit or then we come to the lab. They come to the lab, and then we test them in the test the water sample again in the lab, and we take remedial measures accordingly. So this is the monitoring that I was talking to you about, and the monitoring is it involves the monitoring of the water by the PHE department, and we test the water samples in the lab, and we take remedial action as and when it's required. And for chemical parameters, we test it once a year. And for bacteriological test, for the parameters, we test it twice a year. That is before the monsoon and after the monsoon. So what we do is, and we ensure that the water, it complies to the standards as specified by the Bureau of Indian Standards to provide safe drinking water to the public.
So how many
So
more
these are the
slides are there?
laboratories that we have in the state.
How many more slides are there? Can we? Yeah.
A few more slides. And I'll just quickly go.
All
So
right.
these are the labs that we have. We have one state lab which is NABL accredited, and since we have 12 districts, we have 12 labs, and 3 are NABL accredited, and we have 18 subdivisional labs. These are the parameters that are being tested in the labs: 14 parameters in the state lab, 12 parameters in the district lab, and 10 parameters in the subdivisional labs. These are photos of the labs. And this is a very important component of the water quality management system, because we have this information system, and as you can see at the bottom, that is a website that we can assess the water quality reports. And it's just actually this WQMIS is a one-stop information that has been put in the public domain, and it's been made accessible to all. These are the samples that have been tested so far. This is through the field test kits. This is for the current year, and this is in the labs. So this is about the urban. I think most of you would want to know also. I've been talking about rural all along. So urban water supply in Shillong, we are providing water from the Umyo River. As you can see on the in the screen, on top is the river Umyo. That is where we are tapping water, and you can see the quality of the water. That is why I think in my previous, we are talking about the ambient water quality, and this is very, very important, because if you look at the quality of the water, it's quite bad. And if you look at the slide, I mean the photograph at the bottom, you can see that is called the clariflocculator. In the middle is the flocculator, and you can see the quality of the water between the flocculator and the circle outside, that is a clarifier. And you can understand how much effort is being taken to uh, I mean to test the water and to subject it to treatment, so that we'll be able to provide safe drinking water to the people in Shillong. So this is what I was talking to you about. The Greater Shillong has got an in-house a lab where we test the sorry we monitor daily at regular intervals, that is on an hourly basis, the incoming raw water and the outgoing treated water. The incoming water, because we have to understand what kind of treatment that we have to undertake so that we'll be able to supply safe treated water to the people in Shillong. And these are the parameters that we are testing in the in-house lab: the pH value, the iron content, total coliform, turbidity, and residual chlorine, to ensure that the water is safe and it's fit for human consumption. So this is the way forward to ensure safe drinking water. As I've told you, all water quality information can be accessed through the JJM dashboard. This is for rural areas. And to build more confidence among the people about the quality of water supply through the tap, lab testing results will be sent to the village heads and the VWSC members through SMS in their cell phone numbers. Furthermore, citizens can submit their grievances directly through the web-based application known as the MEC PGRAMS, which primarily aims at grievance redressal and monitoring. And also, the department is also planning to implement the IoT monitoring system as a pilot project in 11 locations in the state to monitor the quality of water, such as the pH level, turbidity, and residual chlorine in real time using sensors to know the live quality status of water. This will enhance the success rate of water quality schemes due to end-to-end visibility of water supply and equitable access to safe water for all sections of the society, which will benefit all stakeholders across multiple dimensions like economic, social, environmental, health, and safety. Now, to conclude, I will go to the next slide. Here, in conclusion, I would like to say that protecting our water source is very, very crucial. And needless to say, the importance of it. Why? Because preventing contamination is far easier than restoring the quality after it's been polluted. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Ms. Badarisha, for very elaborated, presentation of the vision of the PhD Meghalaya and the activities that you are doing, and so on and so forth. I have some question to add, but not to respond now. We can have that round. My questions are going to be specifically around, as a hill state, what all are the key challenges that you are facing? That is one important question will come. Within that, you have water quality labs. So, what all are the specific institutional challenges, including human resources and various other things, accreditation, those kinds of processes? How are you facing, and how are you addressing those processes? Because those will be very important learnings for many states who are here. So, keep these questions in mind, please, and we can pick it up. Please put up presentation from Inram, and yeah. Now we will have both Sumanjita Barman and Sharmila Kakoti. Both are from Inram. Will be presenting their initiatives around water quality. How participation of various levels of actors are adding value to this. Over to you. Please finish in 10 minutes so that but you have two people. That's what I was.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharmila Kakoti, and she is my colleague Sumanjita Burman, and we are both representing INREM Foundation today. So today we have been asked to talk about our experiences as a whole in water quality, governance, and communities. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to share our experiences. Although we have very limited experiences in working with the hilly regions, but as a whole, we have hoped and we have put together in our presentation that whatever little experience we have, I hope it will be helpful, and I just request if the presentation can be put up. Okay. So water. So when we talk about water, I think everyone have their own fond memories about water, right? I can just name few of mine. I think dancing in the rain, drinking spring water, bathing in the ponds. We all have such experiences, but little did we know that time when before I got exposure to this water quality arena, I probably didn't know about what are the contamination in a clean water. What is clean water exactly? I was not clear about those things. So drinking spring water, we already had that notion always that spring waters are clean water and we can drink that. But as we got more exposure, we are now getting more learning about, we have contamination even there. So I think exactly that's where our role comes in. Agents who can bridge that gap, that people like me who are not aware, we can create awareness, and that's exactly where we are working in. Okay. And working at it. Okay. Okay. So, what we in REM we are aiming for is safe, water safe communities. So, as the name suggests itself, communities that can access safe drinking water, communities that can ensure health, ensuring great health, and then sustainable livelihoods and also well-being as a whole. So that's exactly we are aiming for, and we are working for that. So as a whole, INREM is a small organization, and as a whole, abhi tak, we have only 10. We are working in 10 districts across 7 states. So as a whole, what we have been trying to do, will be telling in the next part of the presentation. So our core principles, basically, I'll not go much into that because we have time limitations here. So we are working on several capacity building programs, and we are also trying to work with the various agents, various government, so civil society organizations, and we are trying to build capacities as a whole, and also learning and relearning things. We are also trying to connect several agents with each other in our learning groups that we'll be talking more about in our next slides. So, most of the INREM basically works in the various water contaminated issues. So, in Assam, mostly we are working in fluoride and arsenic related issues. And next. So this is basically the approach, various approach INREM is working in. We are in a research-based organization. So we have been doing several assessments, mitigations. We are trying to mitigate problems. We'll be talking more in the next slide. So I'm going a little fast here. We are also associated with various network practices. So I think Raman sir previously mentioned about that thing only. INREM is a small organization, as I was telling. We don't have our footing everywhere. So we have tried to strengthen our digital platforms as well. So we have several online courses, one of which is called the Water Quality Management course, which has now been recognized by National Jal Jeevan Mission under Jal Jeevan Mission Digital Academy. We are also doing our learning groups thing. It is an initiative where a case presenter, like any individual, like me and you working or want to work on water related issues, they come together, they share their problems here, and then as a whole, we are trying to mitigate or share suggestions as a whole in a group. So there are several members there in that particular session who have probably been working in similar problems, who are addressing similar issues. So they share each other's problems as a whole, and they are trying to, learn from each other and, as a whole mitigate issues. So one such, so we had that opportunity here where the case presenter also came from hilly regions where they were also sharing their own issues. So some of the things that we do is one of those learning group thing. And then we also have several platforms like the IECO, Glyphic, Oloe, who are helping us. These are the actors who have been continuously helping us. We have this water quality network platform where several people, several members working in the water quality related issues have come together, and they are trying to connect with each other and trying to take further and address several water quality related issues like that. Next. So within the community, so INREM basically, has been adopting a community-based approach. We have been working with several agents like the frontline workers, ASHA, ANM. We have been doing capacity building of these actors, and then also the water users committee. We have also done, capacity building of water users committee and also students. So this is a very recent initiative that my colleague will be talking in the later part of the slides. Next. So, in the core principles, one of the thing that was mentioned is that we work with the government. So, one such initiative was the Fluorosis Mitigation Support Center. It was there was an MOU that was signed with the WSSO, Water Support Sanitation Organization, and that time what we did basically, there is 4 centers that were established, which was basically convergence center. Basically we all talk about conversions, right? We know that any water quality related issue cannot be solved unless and until all the departments, all the people associated will be come together and work together in mitigating this issue. So that's exactly what Fluorosis Mitigation Support Center was. And we had our centers in 4 districts: Nagaon, Karbi Anglong, Hoja, and Kamrup. So basically, one of the things that we use in the fluorosis mitigation was ensuring safe water and nutrition. So this is a combination basically that can meet that basically is used to treat fluorosis. This combination, this both of the combination can ensure. We have seen several cases, recovery cases as such, just by the use of these two combination. So then next, okay, sorry. So I'll be a little more fast. So these are some of the success stories from ground. As you can see, both of them were affected by fluorosis, and within years we have seen recovery. And it was through the same mitigation process, that is safe water and nutrition. So proper nutrition and safe water is what is necessary to bring these recoveries. And the government of Assam has been extremely supportive in our initiative there. Next. So for the next part of the discussion, I'll just request Sumanjita to take over.
Yeah, please be quick,
Yeah,
Sumanjit.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Sure.
Yeah. So Sharmila basically talked about our interventions, and I'll be doing the same. So one of our intervention is people-centric district water quality platform. We all know that the right solution requires alignment and collaboration between community and departments. So Inram Foundation came up with a model that is people-centric district water quality platform. It's a platform for getting the right people and representatives of district level departments. And these platforms enable convergence between different government departments such as PHAT, health, ICDS, and education. Um, with the overall emphasis here of the people-centric district platform is on sustainable solutions that are ecologically sound and address the most vulnerable communities. So the role of district platform, I'll be quoting here that connecting the needs of affected communities in the most vulnerable areas of water quality affected regions with the district administration. So this is a model that we have initiated in different districts across the nation, and our learning is that in some districts it's a success. We can say it's a success model. In Whereas in some districts it is not that much of a success because of various reasons. Um, I'll go faster.
So next phase, when INRIM has been recognized as a sector partner of National Jal Jeevan Mission, we directly in Assam collaborated with Assam government and initiated a program across the state with students. So that is called the Jaldut program by JJM Assam. So we have been the implementing partner in that program, and the main objective and key focus of this program is to empower the communities by engaging the students. So, students are the future leaders, as we all know, and now we all have digitized connections. So, so we are having this digitized platforms that students can use. So everybody have mobile access now. So we are taking advantage of that, and we are getting this program ahead. The main objective of this initiative, this Jaldut program, is to educate communities on safe drinking water and wash practices, assess and improve the pipe water supply schemes. So, JJM is implementing these schemes across the nation. But what about its sustainability? So, we are working on its sustainability, how the students can contribute in the sustainability of the JJM schemes. And also, it will lay foundation for future centric initiatives. These are some of the pictures of the Jaldut program. So basically, this program is the students undergo workshops, 2-day workshop that is called Jalshala, and field work to become Jalduts and acting as ambassadors for safe drinking water, water quality, conservation, and hygiene. Yeah. So we, as we are dealing with students, we try to bring it in a gamified approach. So we have various activities that the student does with the help of a WhatsApp chatbot. So every student who will go through the Jalshala, they will be onboarded in the chatbot, and they'll be registered on the chatbot, and then their journey continues. It's not a 1-day, 2-day program. It is a continuous journey of a student of bringing safe water and awareness generation in the community. So these are some of the glimpses of the data monitoring and dashboard that we have been doing. So as time limits, yeah. So there's just one last slide. So I just like to highlight a success story very quickly. So we all know Majuli in Assam, the largest river island. So there, the Jalduts have been doing incredible work, and their remarkable achievement unfold. The people, the community was not paying the tariff before the Jaldut program, and when the Jalduts made the community aware, they started contributing towards the scheme sustenance. So that's a success story for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to stand between the content of the presentations and you. It is inevitable for my part. Sorry, but
Yeah. So we are done. So just one quote. I just want to finish my presentation. So together, this is just the beginning. Only through collaborative efforts we can achieve our shared goals for water safe communities. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much. I have some questions, not
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
not now. When we have time for discussion, if we have. That's also something that we need to contemplate. So now, the question is that how the hill region districts you can think of setting up the district learning groups, and how similarly the kind of initiatives that you are doing, the Jaldoots and the courses programs, how can they be very specifically particularly wherein the tribal languages and dialects are spoken, how would you translate them
useful for the people rather than making a uniform understanding that everyone understand Hindi or everyone understand English or anything else. So how would we make it multilingual? Those kinds of question I'll have for you. And of course, since the PhD in chief engineer is here, so how would you work for these kinds of states is something, another question. So now, Eklavya, your turn now to connect all these three specific things based on your experience. Again, needless to say that timing is, yeah.
At the outset, I would like to thank government of Meghalaya for giving me this opportunity of coming and sharing our experiences of from Bihar, Jharkhand, and West Bengal. Um, what I would be doing in my presentation, and I'll try to make it as short as possible, is basically sharing the experiences. But the way I will be projecting it would be kind of a suggestion for the state government to see as to what is useful for them, and if any of the suggestions would be, helpful in addressing some of the critical issues out here. So for us, when we started work in Bihar, the whole intention was to understand groundwater locally, and which was very important because groundwater being the main resource for people in Bihar, there was not much of understanding, and there was not much of understanding even at my level or the team with whom I was working. So we had to develop that whole understanding, and the understanding was basically for the purpose of collectively interpreting the water quality that you know, uh, we were dealing with. So there was no understanding in terms of water quality, and we thought that the best way forward would be to see as to how we can collectively interpret it and then shift the concern because of the fact that groundwater happens to be a common pool, but then the ownership was considered to be individual. So the concerns were very individual, and our whole effort was to look at how individual perspectives are then transformed into more of a collective concern. So this was the vision that got developed while we were while we started work. Our experiences they come from various initiatives. The first one, basically, and the most crucial one, was when we started work in Bihar. The whole idea was to define and to also kind of prove that there was scarcity in abundance, because of a state like Bihar, where groundwater, if you go deep, almost about 10 feet, you hit the first level of groundwater. During floods, you are surrounded by groundwater, and then everyone thinks that there is a lot of water there, but the issue there is that there is scarcity in terms of in abundance, and that is what we started working on. And then our various other programs, like for instance participatory groundwater management work that we did, the piloting study that we did in Jharkhand, followed by the status of water and sanitation in Bihar that we had undertaken. All of these actually started helping us to develop an understanding as to how should be a convergence between community, water quality, and governance. So, what did this lead to? This led to a kind of a framework. Now, I'm not saying that this is a kind of a the final framework. This is a framework which is kind of evolving. And what we were trying to do is get different perspectives within a house and try to figure out as to how we can engage with people. What are the ways in which we can address the issues? What are the ways in which we can highlight the issues? So I won't go into the details. I'm just trying to present the different ways that we had adopted in order to address the issue of water quality, communities and governance. The other one was that we thought that it's very important to have a platform, like what Inram mentioned earlier, and they've been doing amazing work in terms of collaboration. These work that I'm sharing with you is pre JJM, and there were no guidelines at that point of time. So whatever we were doing, we were developing it ourselves. We were trying to see as to if this is the path which leads us to what we are trying to achieve at the end of it. So the collaborative framework basically was in a way of seeing if we are working in a panchayat, what are the ways in which we can kind of get different agencies to come together and to actually go deep into the problem per se. So that was the whole issue of the collaborative framework. Then we come to the processes. And the processes were also fascinating. The processes were fascinating because it was creating space for us as external people to hear what people had to say about their own resource. Normally, the approach is that we go to communities, we have our own understanding, and we start talking about it in order to inform them, but not realizing that there is a process where we need to be informed about the kind of water issues are there. So this was another, a strategy that we had adopted in order to show as to what are the different ways in which we can collaborate with the community to protect the groundwater. So what what did we basically come to? We we came to a conclusion that unless and until we gather information from people about their own resource, we will not be able to even convince them about the quality of water. And therefore, we were convinced that if we have to talk about water quality, it is important that we first of all talk about groundwater. We had to develop a narrative around groundwater and then go to the whole issue of water quality. So here I would say, like, the third point in terms of senior citizens, a repository of oral history, I would like to bring to your attention, this is a book which has come out recently. This book is basically a compendium of water stories from Northeast India. And it has all the 8 states. There are activists, there are journalists who have put together this. And Meghalaya also gets featured here extensively. I would say that this kind of an intervention, I think, should be highlighted because it provides a lot of information which may be there, which might not be there. And I think so. And this is precisely the reason I got this book here. And it's a good reference point. The reference is that the oral history, the lived histories, the lived experiences of people are actually a way which helps us to move forward. And our work, Make Pine Abhiyan's work in Bihar, in Jharkhand, and to an extent in West Bengal, is based on the lived experiences. If we wouldn't have approached the lived experiences, I wouldn't have been standing here and sharing with you all in terms of what are the things that could be done. So that's now. So once we decided that the community interactions are important, that is the time we realized that it is not possible for us to be there all the time to have a continuous interaction. We have to develop human resources within the community, and at that point of time we started calling them bhujal doots. Translated into English is groundwater ambassadors. And there was a process. This is the process which we actually undertook to identify these groundwater ambassadors. And I wouldn't say that it was easy. It was extremely difficult because of the fact that any new skill was expected to be, reciprocated with some kind of earnings. And I'm talking about a phase pre JJM where this still was a concept, like, was being tried out. And here we were trying to say that, there is a possibility of people who join in that they might be given, they have options of getting a job, and couple of them did. I'm done. I think so, the second last slide. So, Bhujal Doots actually got, and they emerged as an option that would replace us or Make Pine Abhiyan's team in the field, and they would carry on. And this was largely from the perspective of sustenance. So, how did we go about? It was Make Pine Abhiyan has been working along with Aquadam Pune. They have been our guru in terms of groundwater. So the thematic experts got together, then trained people within Make Pine Abhiyan. Then Make Pine Abhiyan people went to the field. They looked at local resources, the process that was adopted in terms of identifying Bhujal Doots. And then they were trained and they went around identifying people, interacting with the community, and making community the change makers. So this was the process that was followed. So what did we do at the end? What did we achieve? And what we still want to achieve is the groundwater ownership. It went from individual to community. Management shifted from sources to resource. And there was a participation in terms of developing, understanding about groundwater, the concerns and ways in which they would be addressed. So, summing up the entire work that we did, what did we achieve? Or what was it that we had at the end of the day when we were addressing issues of drinking water? It was basically drinking water protocols. We were talking about source and resource sharing. We started talking about demand for safe drinking water. We were talking about alternatives. We were talking about ecologically sustainable, disaster resilient sanitation systems, and also in terms of institutional building. So all of this came in primarily from the perspective that we thought that looking at water quality, we have to go into the details of groundwater, involve community in understanding their perspective before we start sharing ours. And this is what we did. And we continue to we continue with the explorations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eklavya. I have, if time permits, no, not now. The question from my side. Hello? Sorry. So, if time permits, the last point that you brought in about ecologically sustainable and, how the sanitation leads to water quality contamination and how sanitation needs to be attended to. That part, if we can get time, because it is very important for the water sources and resources in the hill region. Yeah, I'll come to that. Now, Joy, very sorry for making you wait till the end, but that the governance is the first and last point. So, with that, over to you to speak about governance. Yeah.
Uh, Thanks, Raman. Is my slides visible and am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible and your slides are clearly visible. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So I know the time is limited, so I'm going to be little what you call use a broad brush to say what I want to say. I'm not going to bring in my own lived experiences with some of the water issues because we don't have time. But if there is sufficient interest later, one could line up something else. So first of all, I'm very thankful to the government of Meghalaya and the organizers of the International Water Conclave for making the institution I represent, that is Society for Promoting Participative Ecosystem Management, SOPECOM, a partner in this very important, significant effort, and also giving me a chance to speak at this important theme, that is water quality, communities, and water governance. I think quite a bit have been talked about water quality, and I also, in fact, I told Raman when my name I saw is that I'm not a water quality person, and I think Eklavya has done a fantastic work of combining all these things together. So I'm going to focus on the second, the third sub themes in that. That is to some I'm broadly on the water governance issues and also connecting with the communities. That is my effort in this next 7-8 minutes. I just want to start with two examples with which I'm connected. One is this Hivre Bazaar in Maharashtra, where I've been connected as a researcher primarily. And another example where I'm more of an active participant in a particular program. The first one is that I mean, I'm saying this, and I know Meghalaya conditions can be different, but I think with climate changes and other type of changes which is taking place all over, events of floods and droughts are all over the place, and I'm told that even Meghalaya faces water shortages in the summer months and things. Now, what do we see in this Hivre Bazaar? What did they do in terms of governance? They just did three, four simple things. One, they decided that as a community, there should not be any bore wells for irrigation. We know that irrigation is the largest user, and many places where the bore well, the aquifer levels go down primarily because of the irrigation extraction. Second, they decided that as a community that no water intensive crops there, either it's sugarcane, banana, etc. They were promoted water efficient methods. And finally, I think where knowledge comes to play to the forefront and data, where they have the rainfall monitoring and other things. So the entire crop planning to be done as per the water, water availability. But we broadly call in the water sector demand management. The result of this that even if there is drought all over the place, this village does not bring in water tankers to meet their drinking water. Instead, water we can see in the summer months, water tank is going out of this village to other villages to give this. This I would say that's a water governance from below. The second, with which I am much more involved as a participant, is the effort of the villages in Sangli district of Maharashtra to restructure a huge public irrigation system. I am saying this is a huge public irrigation system because it's very complex. You can see the diagram there, where the water is going to be lifted from the larger Krishna River and bring to the eastern part of the basin, which is the drought prone, in 5 stages of lift. The water would be lifted nearly 300 meters and it would irrigate something close to about 80,000 hectares. Now, there, because of the struggle of the farmers over 15 years, the local movement there, which is mobilizing the farmers, brought the government of Maharashtra on a negotiating table, and the government agreed on three things. One, there will be integration of water source. I think when we talk about water governance, this is one of the important things I have to stress. Otherwise, today we talk about groundwater, we talk about surface water, and as if there are no connections. I think we need to see, and even the institutions which govern water are also fragmented this way. I think this institutional fragmentation, policy fragmentation, and even seeing water resources fragmented, not as one. Uh, is one important thing. So integration of water sources, and clearly what I'm meaning here is the groundwater and the surface water integrated and used. Second, the water coming from the Krishna River and the locally available water, which in our parlance we say local water and exogenous water will be integrated. And the second is that the equitable access to water. In one of the important issues the movement brought forward was that this water need to be equitably distributed to all the households, irrespective of the land holding, to all the households in this. And the understanding today with the availability of water is that every person should get 1,000 cubic meter of water. So if you have a family of 5 people, then you get 5,000 cubic meter of water for agriculture production. The third important thing is participatory management. In Maharashtra, we have a rule called the Farmer Irrigation Management Act, in which the farmers are supposed to form their own what is associated takeover. So this is an interesting work, and I feel that if we can put this in place, this will be a game changer in terms of the water sector. So I would say that examples of this type can be seen in the length and breadth of the country, and we should be able to learn. So my first suggestion is that how do we learn from such experiences and examples and bring those insights, like to some extent what Eklavya was saying, into your policy and the governance system is the first suggestion which I have. Now let us look at, what do we talk about water governance? Today there's an understanding that we all know, we all agree that water sector in the country is going through a very deep crisis. And if you look at the 2018, the composite water management index that was brought out by the Niti Aayog, that very clearly brings out this whole crisis which is there. And very often it is posited that water governance is the key to solve some of these crises or the problems which we see. In fact, I found this definition I mean, there are many definitions of water governance. So Rogers and Hall in 2003 brought out this. I think this captures holistically what broadly we all mean by water governance. So it talks about a range of political, social, economic, and administrative systems that are in place to develop and manage water resources and also the delivery of water service at different levels of society. I think this is, in a way, we can say that what we'll talk about very often in a fragmented manner about water governance. So it's not only just about irrigation engineering or civil engineering or geohydrology type of thing. It is also interdisciplinary type of understanding, and how do you put systems in place or institutions in place to manage water at different levels and things. Now, this is also quite well known when we talk about what is good governance. I'm going to talk about three things. One is there's a tendency to focus on these three things. One is accountability, we talk about. Any good water governance system should be accountable. So it has, we talk about the different roles of different institutions and organizations, their responsibilities, and that was structures which we build in to create. Unfortunately, in India, what happens that the local institutions are always accountable to the what I call the supra local institutions, not the other way around. So the main point which I have to bring is that how do you bring in reverse accountability so that the higher level institutions, the supra local institutions are also accountable to communities and their institutions. Second, we talk about transparency in terms of decision making, information sharing, data sharing, and including the budgets. So how do we ensure that so that the people can also participate in a much more informed manner? We all know that corruption is a serious issue in the water sector, and probably bringing in transparency that can have some check on that. Finally, we talk about participation, citizenship, and the voice, the whole area of representation. We also need to unpack representation. We need to ask this question: who represents? Today, there is a saying that nothing about us without us. I mean, that's a type of slogan which is coming. How do you bring in the voices of the marginalized people in the society, whether they are Dalits, Adivasis, or tribals, women, landless, and all these marginalized societies or people with the different marginalized communities or minority communities into the institutions we craft is one thing. So these three things are we talk about when we talk about governance. Unfortunately, when we talk about governance, we only talk about the what I generally call as the physical or the technical or technological aspects of water. That is basically we talk about the formal institutions, organizations, and we really don't talk about the processes embedded in all these things, and we hardly talk about in a disaggregated manner. Even when we talk about communities, we never disaggregate in terms of gender, how patriarchy plays out in all these, caste as an important reality in the Indian context, the economic classes, the power relationships between the different communities and the different institutions, and whether we have any space, institutional space for negotiated settlements. I think these are important things which are often not come into play. When we talk about water governance, it has three broad aspects. I think we need to engage with all these three. One is what I call allocative functions. For example, on what basis people do get access to water? How do you allocate water? It's not only between individuals, families, communities. When you talk about upstream, downstream, or even interstate allocations, because these are all very allocation issues which is there. There are issues of pricing. These are what basically I call as the political legislative functions. And here, when we talk about institutions, there should be much larger institutions where it will be much more inclusive processes. So, first dimension of governance is the political or the allocative function. That is one thing we need to talk about sometime. Second is that there is a management function. This is which basically I call is the production function, where in terms of we talk about how do you develop our aquifers, groundwater, surface water resources, how do we set up systems for actual distribution, the O&M, that is the operation maintenance of the system, etc., which I broadly call the executive function of the government system, and the third is the regulatory function. In fact, till I would say till about 2005, very often in the water sector, all these functions have been managed by same set of institutions, except maybe the allocated function, which has been primarily done by the elected representatives of the different elected bodies, like whether it is state legislatures or the parliament, etc., etc. But there was no separate mechanism for regulatory function. Now there is an increasing realization, sensitivity, saying that um, to have independent regulatory systems, independent from the legislature and the executive. So we talk about the independent water regulatory authorities, and Maharashtra was the first state to bring in an act and that is functioning, called the Maharashtra Water Regulatory Authority Act 2005. Now, this is being now suggested to various states to enact, and I think in the 2020-21 draft policy, which I was part of in formulating, we also talk about the need to bring in independent regulatory mechanisms. In fact, we have it for other services, whether it is telecom, electricity, and other type of services we have. And nowadays, now increasingly talking about bringing in a regulatory mechanism within the water sector.
Joy, apologies. Are we,
This is the last slide.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I just want to bring in three issues to our consideration when you talk about governance. One is that can the governance lead to, and for me, this is an important question, lead to restructuring the water sector in more integrated, because integration is important. As I said earlier, we have this, in a way, a fundamentalist approach to whether it comes to institutions which manages different sources of water, and also between groundwater and surface water. They never meet. So how do we talk about an integrated system? Sustainability, we all say that water is an ecosystem resource, and there we talk about, in fact, water quality, etc., comes into the sustainability angle. And also we say that a certain portion of the water need to be kept unbound and kept flowing, and it's the right of the river to flow. So how do you keep those environmental flows, etc., etc.? How do we distribute water more equitably? There are very grounded experience on that. Efficiency, can we not bring down water footprint in what we do, especially in the livelihood activities we are doing? That's important. And also, how do you democratize water sector? So can we design a governance system which can, and for me that's important. I mean, we need to ask this question, water governance for what? I mean, that is an issue which we collectively need to answer. Second, my contention today, as Raman said, I've been working, and we have a larger network in which even Conclave is a part of it, working on water conflicts in the country. We found that in terms of governance, there is a major absence of any mechanisms within the governance system to address different water conflicts in the country at different scales, right from a micro watershed to between communities to transboundary conflicts, and this is a major gap in our governance system. So how do we answer that? Third, to answer all this, they can be create democratic, legally mandated. It's important. Otherwise, some of the academic institutions or NGOs have set up multi-stakeholder platforms, but the decision taken in those platforms are not legally binding. And we have seen it in Kaveri conflict and various other type of places. So can we set up such institutions, institutional spaces where people can participate, share data and experience, and negotiate? So finally, just to conclude, and my overarching proposition to the group is that water governance need to be located in the larger environment justice discourse, where we talk about redistributive justice, we talk about recognition, which means that the local articulation, local aspirations, local social cultural things of the community need to be taken into account when you come up with certain things. And finally, we talk about participation and things. So this is one proposition I have. Second, it should be also informed of the specific biophysical and social cultural characteristics of water, because I believe that water is very different resource as compared to many other resources and things. I could certain things. Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about these things. So I stop here. Yeah. Thanks, Raman.
Thanks,
That's
thanks, Joy, and I'm very glad that you could postpone your program and join here, because these important points we would have really missed in case you were not here. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks.
So we can, we have already exceeded the planned time, but we are taking just 5 minutes to add up before we go for lunch. Just 5 minutes. Within that 5 minutes, we can, the questions that I have raised, I'm not going to the panelists for responding to them, but that is something for contemplation and further action amongst us and the officials of the state, and the people who have come from various hill regions and countries and so on and so forth. So I'm not going there. Is there any question that any of you want to ask? Two questions I can pick up. Any questions? Yes, please. Mr. Coach is asked. Yeah.
I'm PM Scott from Central Water Commission. So my question is very pointed. It can be both to PHE and to INREM. uh, whether the water quality protocol being done by PHE and INREM also covers parameters such as pesticides and toxic and trace elements. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. As you can see in the slides that I had presented, we are testing only, we have these, the labs that are there in the state under the PHED department. We have tested, there are only 14 parameters altogether in the state lab, and pesticides is not included.
Yeah, as you know, uh, we have a lot of agricultural fields in our hills also, and our farmers are using pesticides. So perhaps this is a gap where we can fill up.
Sure, but then at the same time also we do, though we don't have the parameters there in the lab, but we do send our samples also to the Meghalaya State Pollution Control Board. So whether you have such facility to test the lab, let me.
As of now, we are doing only the metals analysis.
Okay, so this is one sector where both the central government and state government can synergize.
Yeah, thanks for that intervention, which is very important, I think, because that is where we started also. When we are talking about water quality, we have to not only look at the anthropogenic, sorry, the geogenic issues. We have to look at the anthropogenic issues, and agriculture, is one of the major thing in addition to industry and various other things. So, of course, this is one thing that the states, particularly in hilly regions, because the type of agriculture that happens is sometimes aerial, and various other sprays and those kinds of things may happen. So it is important that water sensitivity of using those are coming up. So in the days to come, how to ensure and address these issues could be one of the challenges in front of us. Anything to add here? Okay, yeah, thank you. So please, yeah. All right. So I'll take that question. Yeah. Uh,
Hello, ma'am. My question is on sanitation. So I saw that there are urban fecal sludge treatment plants in urban areas, and what I feel is that in coming days, I think toilets would become the biggest problem in India as the population is growing.
okay.
So management of septic tanks. So what are the challenges?
All right.
about
I'm
this?
giving this to Eclavia because something he has done over the 2 decades of time. The issue of how various sanitation technologies are causing water quality issues and how to address them is something in 2 minutes, Eclavia.
Uh, I'll be answering this question from a perspective of rural India, and that too from a space that is disaster prone and specifically floods. So, in Bihar, in North Bihar, it is assumed that we have just one type of floods, whereas the reality is that there are different types of floods, and each type of floods they have a different impact. Now, given the fact that sanitation is critical, it is important, and everyone has the right to have access to sanitation, unless and until we keep in mind that the kind of floods that is occurring in a particular area, if we avoid that, so whatever access is being created, whatever infrastructure is being created, is not going to survive, it's not going to be sustainable. So, in order to address this issue, what did we do? We tried for almost about more than a decade to adapt ecological sanitation for the flood prone areas. Now, this was done primarily for two reasons. One, so that we have access to sanitation during floods, and second, to safeguard the groundwater, primarily because groundwater happens to be the main source of drinking water. I'll just end.
Yeah. So yeah. So to no, we don't have time for another question. I'm very sorry. Yeah. So we are summing up. So the one thing that for those the specific question of you, WaterAid has conducted a couple of studies about toilet technologies that are suitable for various geographical terrains. And some of the toilet technologies that we are promoting as part of our larger campaigns itself can cause geography specific kind of contamination. So, how to look at and retrofit those issues is a major question that the Swachh Bharat Mission has also posed. And all, who are working on water quality has to think about whether the sanitation systems are causing any specific kind of contamination of our water sources and leading to some kind of health issues, and then to address them using appropriate technologies. That is one important issue. And with this, the group has provided a rich set of learnings for the hill regions, how to look at water quality, how to have community participation and capacity building, of course, that added value, and how to have governance, kind of frameworks and processes, and then how these can enrich, whether it is the work of the Jal Jeevan Mission, the drinking water part, whether it is the work of pollution control, how these can be improved by using this framework. What the kind of outcome of this session? I think with that, thanks to all my panelists, and Joy, over to you also. Thanks to you also online, and thanks to all of you for having a very what you call sharpened listening and discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you to our moderator, Shri V.R. Raman, and the expert panelists for that really riveting and enlivening discussion and conversations that have just been held. We will now break for lunch, and we will gather again at 2:30 p.m. sharp for the next plenary session.